Welcome to New Overlords Podcast. I'm Max, and this is a video game show where I'm joined every week by a podcast host who needs to talk about Grounded 2. It's Sema.
Max, we need to talk about Grounded 2.
I know. Sema, before you buy Grounded 2, you're going to need to listen to this show.
Yes, we need to talk about it.
Sema, we played Grounded 2, so you don't have to. Watch our show. Hey, Sema, these are the top things I wish I knew before I played Grounded 2.
Yeah, no. How many of the things you wished? How many are there in your list?
I would have to say, but I didn't count. So, if anyone doesn't recognize this, we've been studying clickbait. The problem with that is I can't do it with a straight face. Maybe I'll be able to someday, but I would only be able to the name for the podcast this week is going to be "We Need to Talk About Grounded 2," but only done ironically. So the subtitle it will be "We've been studying clickbait."
Yes,
I just can't do it. Oh wait, I forgot. I also need to do the here. Let me go. I have to do the face that I can put on the thumbnail or the. Huh?
Like with the one eyebrow up? No. We need to talk about it's like the one eyebrow up and you're looking at the camera.
Here's coming. That one. I saw it on the replay. That one. I'll save that one. Yeah, absolutely. I was worried it was going to be cold down here, but now I'm a little warm. It's warm outside. But usually that makes it really cold in the house because the cold air drops down to the studio air. But yeah, we finally got some warm coming back. It got cold here for a couple days in August, which is weird. But yeah, we're going to talk about Grounded 2, aren't we? We both played it. And had a lot of fun and have thoughts. Boy, do we have thoughts. So stay tuned for our thoughts. Stay tuned after the break when we talk about Grounded 2. You're not going to want to miss it. Listen to the end. Subscribe and ring that bell. All right, should we talk about the news?
Right.
Good news, everyone.
All right, first up in the news. This was a fun one because along with a lot of other people, and I read this and like journalists talk about this all the time, is what's the deal with Roblox? It's like $1 billion business. Kids love it. And it's garbage. It's literal garbage. And here's this case where here's an indie studio. The creators of the game called Peak. And Peak is this cool game where it's co-op and you have two players and you're sort of like trying to do some mountain climbing and you can you help each other along and things like that. Well, what happens is in Roblox, people make
cannibalize
ripoffs.
each other.
Yeah. They make ripoffs of any popular game in Roblox. Roblox is quote unquote it's a platform, and it'll just be blatant copying of stuff. It'll be like trademark violations all over the place, and sometimes if the companies follow up and they file the trademark violations, Roblox will take it down. But Roblox does not proactively police any of that, and these creators. I don't know where they put their statement out, either in an interview or online, but they basically came out and said, guys, I wish you would even just pirate our game and play it for free rather than play the garbage version on Roblox.
Actually, I don't buy that. Why would they care in that way? But yeah.
Yeah. Well, because kids think that they're playing Peak.
I mean, I get not liking it and wanting it to stop, but that it's worse than pirating.
I'm sure that's I'm sure that's tongue in cheek them saying that, but the thing is, kids, these tween kids, these 11-year-old kids who are playing Roblox, play this stuff on Roblox and they think they're playing real games. Because you can ask them, and I've heard people talk about this. They're talking to their kids. Oh, hey, the new Marvel Rivals came out. We should play some Marvel, Marvel fighting. Oh, I play that all the time. What do you mean? I play it in Roblox. No, that's garbage. You're playing garbage. Oh no, I played in Roblox.
No. Or the other way around. The kid's like, I want to get Marvel Heroes. And they're like, no, we have Marvel Heroes at home.
Basically, that's like what Roblox tells them. And the kids are like, okay, that's even better. So yeah, nobody understands. Us olds, anybody basically that's older than 16, or who knows, maybe all these 11-year-old kids are going to grow up and going to be like 40-year-old middle-aged gamers still playing Roblox because it's nostalgic for them.
Yeah, right.
So who knows? Anyway, Roblox is terrible. Next news item. Also in news of things that are terrible, Plants vs. Zombies is getting remastered. Wasn't it just like last week or the week before I was like holding up Plants vs. Zombies as this bastion of, hey, this is an awesome game. This is why we don't need to like remaster things or remake or have infinite sequels or live service things. Because remember when we would just put out the games and it would just be good and it would be a game that we could play? Well, and could still play, because you could still just download Plants vs. Zombies on your phone and play Plants vs. Zombies. Well, they're going to remaster it. And it makes it slightly sharper graphics, but not even very, I mean, it doesn't even look very different. So I don't know. We were debating this in the pre-show and you said, Sema, what? It's a marketing thing.
It's a form of advertising. Or
yeah.
I was guessing that maybe that's what it is, because it's a particular kind of target. I mean, like, marketers would pay money for this kind of targeted, like you just put it up on Steam and a bunch of gamers see it. Whereas if you put it up, you use other advertising, billboards or television or streaming services or whatever, it's more like a scattergun effect.
Yeah. And remember, Plants vs. Zombies is not as interesting as Plants vs. Zombies Remastered. Now it can go in the, new games releasing in September list. It can go in the hot new games on Steam list. It can go in all those places where you can't really say, remember Plants vs. Zombies? It's still good. Oops, that's great. That's not what I like to have happen.
That sounded like a bad thing happening.
Yeah, that was my backup service. So it was not like something too bad. All right. So we're good. We're all fine here.
So I personally have never played Plants vs. Zombies except the version that was inside WoW.
Right.
And this reminded me about that. And that was like 2012, something like that. So it's a while.
And the version inside WoW is not too much different than the actual version. The actual version is just like more levels and it's just more.
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I don't know. It's 10, 12, 13 years later. I mean, it's I don't know. This one doesn't strike me as unfair like some of them have.
No. And I guess they're adding co-op to it and PvP. Like maybe somebody gets to control the zombies, like, which is a fine concept. I love that idea of somebody gets to like control to basically play tower defense. It's a tower defense game. So to play tower defense, and somebody is the other side, is the AI that you're defending with your towers.
Yeah, if they're adding something like that, that's even more of an argument.
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
I mean, are they going to do like a mobile version? That would be.
I think Switch 2 is the first target for what they're releasing. So that also. So what am I complaining about? This is completely justified. Anyway, stop remastering things. I wasn't saying you were saying that. I'm saying the internet is saying that to me.
Yeah.
Everybody at home listening is screaming at the TV. Shut up, Max. This is completely makes sense. What are you talking about?
Like, remasters suck. Oh, except the games that I would like to see.
Yeah.
I want to. You know what I want? Lemmings remastered.
Okay. All right. Do it. As soon as Garden and a Goat is done, I will get on that. I will buy the IP because I don't copy things like crappy Roblox people. and I will make Lemmings.
And there are a
but
number
it's going to
of
be all
lemmings.
PvP. Sorry, Sema.
Okay.
And live service. It'll be live service open world PvP sandbox. ARPG,
Nice.
first person shooter. Souls-like. All right, so let's skip down to that. Skip down to that article. We'll come back. Souls-like Lemmings. What does that mean, Sema? What would a Souls-like Lemmings game be? You did tell me. What does Souls-like mean?
It means all the lemmings die always.
Always, every time. Die over and over and over. Yeah. Yeah.
Souls-like, as it was explained to me one time by Max, means that you have to learn to fight by dying. But apparently,
Yeah,
if
and
you're-
with a couple of other
that's
things
not-
around that
that's
caveats
not
around it.
elite enough. Just being difficult is not enough to make it Souls-like.
Correct. But and I would even agree
You
with that.
also have to be able to get souls from the bosses that you kill and lose souls when you die.
Basically, you're losing progression when you die
Yeah.
as the punishment. And then there's a couple things which I think are debatable, like one of the articles, one of the lists of requirements extended it to say, and there have to be like save points that reset the world, so like all the monsters respawn. So if you go back into an area, that I don't think is really necessary. It's more of it's the dodge block, learn the fights, and the punishment and run back and loss of progression when you die. And it has to be very, very hard for it to be Souls-like, is what is my definition. But that's not everybody's definition. And this is yet another article. So Silent Hill F is getting released, and I don't want. So I see her name, the author's name here of the article, Vicky Blake. I'm not going to throw Vicky under the bus and say it was lazy to just look up a Reddit thread and make an article, because she at least she does talk about the various definitions and things like that. In fact, they're talking about this Silent Hill stuff, but basically it was a Reddit thread that was saying, is Silent Hill going to be actually Souls-like or is it not? And what does Souls-like mean? And we have had this debate time and time again. So I just thought it was interesting for it to be coming up again and saying, what is a Souls-like? And it's not Souls-like enough. And anytime you define something, somebody will make an argument that nothing fits their definition of what it means, or anything, or
Right.
Another person will make an argument that, oh yeah, Plants vs Zombies is a Souls-like.
Yeah, the more you argue about the definition of a genre, the wider and the narrower it becomes at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. So
I think part of what's weird about this conversation too is a lot of people saying that the Silent Hill franchise isn't even really about combat.
yeah.
It's more of like a atmosphere story kind of a thing, and but with Silent Hill F, the makers are trying to make it combat more of the appeal of it, because they feel that that's what gamers want.
Yeah. And maybe they do.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Not my gamers. No combat in Garden and a Goat.
Not my I didn't vote for them.
Watery tarts, tossing swords is no basis for a system of government.
Right.
The moist bint. What a great synonym for watery tart. Moist bint. Also in the news, a game that I have been tracking, especially after Wildgate came out, basically Jump Ship, which is now no longer called Jump Ship, and that's the news item. But Jump Ship is a game that is Wildgate with slightly more sort of realistic graphics, and it's PvE. So we've been debating about Wildgate and how the PvP is really cool, and they're doing a really good job of that. It's sort of like an Overwatch on these ships, and you put out the fires, and Jump Ship, which is now called Jump Space. Jump Space is PvE. It's PvE co-op, all the co-op missions. And I lamented the fact that I couldn't really get into Wildgate, because not only is it PV is a group combat, which means you got to get a bunch of people together. But it's PvP, which also makes it more challenging in a number of ways. You have to like queue up, you have to be up for PvP, in the mood for killing other players, for getting stomped on by elite dudes and things like that. Whereas a straight up PvE version, that sounds pretty interesting, which is what Jump Ship, which is now called Jump Space, is all about. So yeah, they had to change their name. That's the news item of the week. I don't even think I kept the article. It was some sort of trademark issue, and we tried to look up. Well, what is Jump Ship? Who would be like
what is the
trademark
conflict?
claim?
Yeah.
The only thing we could find was a board game, like a pirate themed board game named Jump Ship. But if you try to do web searches and we only searched for 17 seconds. That's my attention span. But
Me too.
We did web searches for like that old game named Jump Ship, and nothing was coming up except that one board game. So maybe that's it. But sometimes it's also just if you do a trademark search, they finally had a trademark search come back, and a lawyer might have said, maybe you could get away with it, but you'd be better off not.
Right.
So
right.
then
it
you could just proactively.
Mean, it doesn't. It definitely does not mean that the board game made some kind of a claim. They could have just seen that and said, and they could have also said, for our plans for the future, this might sail us into some rocky waters. So we want to draw the line now rather than have to draw it later.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I actually once looked up the idea of getting a trademark for New Overlords, because whatever, just for the podcast. Not like I really cared it very much, but I had a lawyer do a quick a preliminary trademark search, and he said, well, it might be difficult because in the video game space, there's like Unicorn Overlord, there's Underlords, there's things where somebody could come after you for a trademark violation, and the advice was basically you'd be better off just go with it, and you've got like 10 years of prior art and owning the domain and all of that, where if you file for the trademark and it gets denied, well, then you've got problems. If you just keep going as you're going, nobody's going to come after you. You're not like, making a $1 billion business out of it, for one. And for two, you've been going for 10 years and nobody's going to be able to claim that they have rights over you at this point.
Right. Or that they've lost anything because of it.
Right. Yeah. And it's different segments, different markets to some degree too. And then what was our last one here? Oh, the Starfield thing, which isn't all that interesting. It's just anytime Starfield's in the news, my ears perk up. But there was some data mining, and the data mining said Starfield may be having a feature added where within a solar system, so if you're like in a star system, you could finally, quote unquote, travel from planet to planet without a load screen. Because right now you can even point at a planet and say, go there. And then there's like a load screen and you sort of like warp in. Or you go to the overview map and you pick the planet that you want to go to and you warp in. I guess a whole bunch of players, and I was like reading some thread or maybe the comments in here, and like everybody who's commenting is like, finally, I can't believe it's taken them this long to even think about doing this. And it's just data mining right now. It might not ever actually come. But the consensus seemed pretty strong of this is like an awesome thing. And are the load screens that much of a problem? I didn't have any problem with them at all. And like pointing my ship at the planet and pressing go and like staring at the screen quietly for 90 seconds while it warps towards, and the planet gets bigger and bigger in my field of view. To me, that doesn't add much for gameplay.
I mean, in my limited understanding of capital H, how things work, I feel like the difference between having load screens and not having load screens is pretty far down in the layers of infrastructure, and to rework it to have it without loading screens is a big behind the scenes change, and it's also maybe takes more hardware. I don't know. But in the end, it's what are you getting for all that?
Yeah. You're getting 90 seconds of quiet time instead of a load screen.
That's a good thing. I like quiet time.
Well, the problem is it's quiet time. It's not quiet time. It's
active.
It's 90
active.
seconds of anticipation, because you can't leave the keyboard. If it's a load screen, you can like pause and then you're instantly there when you come back and you unpause and you go through the load screen. It's 90 seconds that you have to stare and wait, because when you warp in, events can happen. Like pirates can instantly start attacking you in Starfield. So you can't leave. You can't go away. You can't go make a sandwich, because you might warp in and it'll be a problem. So chat room, dead air. Is that true? Are we not coming through?
Uh-oh.
Or is that a commentary on the world? Stask. No, I think Stask is commenting on the world. All right. Stask, you just freaked me out. Yeah, the loaded screen issue. Yeah, it kind of is. So some people, so what Stask is suggesting in the chat room is it can take you out of your immersive, feel like it's breaking the fourth wall and it's taking you out of your immersive experience, because the load screen is dead air. And yeah, okay. I guess. Oh, or the other, no, you're saying the other way? No, I mean, I think that's less of a problem. I think people like that 90 seconds of dead air, and like the vast majority of people that argue about this will argue that 90 seconds of dead air as you're driving towards the planet is better than a load screen, which does break immersion there. And I can see that argument. In No Man's Sky, people are like, they can do it in No Man's Sky, and No Man's Sky does have this. When you're traveling between planets in a star system, you can have 90 seconds of your ship just traveling towards that planet. And I don't think it's all that interesting. But it's not bad. It's immersive. So there's that. Okay. Anyway, that's enough about that. Just anything on Starfield does still tend to catch my eye. Okay, in the what's coming this month, what's coming in the next few weeks, what's releasing soon news, we are keeping an eye out, which is in 2 days. Mafia: The Old Country is coming out. I heard it's not even going to be that long of a campaign, but it is looking interesting to a lot of people, especially people of the Mafia, fans of the Mafia franchise. And just looking at the cinematic view of it, it's just interested me. Another one, and this one came from our friend of the show. It's not friend of the show, Force Gaming. He had a video of upcoming games and found this one, which I have not heard of anywhere else besides him, but it's a game called Abyssus, Abyssus.
It looks very cool.
It looks very cool. Great art style. It's like a 4-player first-person shooter co-op roguelite. So you're like, going through these environments and you're fighting through and fighting a bunch of robots and stuff.
It also has canned pineapple pizza.
It's got a really cool aesthetic, and they have they made up a term for their aesthetic, because it's kind of like this like underworld ruined, under the ocean ruins, or kind of shipwrecky kind of things, and their term for it is brine punk. And that's really what caught my eye, is the term brine punk. I'm
like sort of like an Atlantis thing, but you're dressed in like old timey,
like the
diving equipment, like with the tanks and
diving
the
helmets, the screwed together diving helmets and that kind of thing. But I love any clever punk genre where it's like something punk. I'm a sucker for those kind of terms, and brine punk was a good one that I hadn't heard before. So they get a shout out for Abyssus and inventing brine punk. And then later in the month, we are going to be watching another one I added to the list. So we talked about Metal Gear Delta Solid Snake Remake, Delta Force Jump
Snake Eater.
Snake Eater. Eat snake, box, hide, jumpy man, monkey fight game. That's coming on the 28th. And then Gears of War Reloaded was another one that caught my eye because this was one back when I worked for Microsoft, not in games, but back when I worked for Microsoft, this was one of them that I had played back when it first came out because it was Microsoft published, and I got all the Microsoft published games for not free, because you bought them from the company store, but it was like $5 or something, and you'd buy it and you'd get shipped the actual Xbox game in the Xbox clamshell, but it would have a big sticker on it that said not for resale that you couldn't scratch off, because it was coming from the company store, and we got it cheap. They did not want people buying things from the company store, even though you had a purchase limit. They didn't want things buying things from the company store and reselling them. Obviously, people would get in trouble for that. Anyway, those are good games coming out in August. This podcast is brought to you by all of you out there listening and watching. Thanks to everybody for participating. Thanks for everybody in the chat room. We got a good group in here again this week. Fun. People asking questions and freaking us out when they say there's dead air. It's more of a statement on the game topic and not that our podcast went offline. But we appreciate that anyway, because people do really help us out when we do have dead air and then the podcast stops, stream stops. This is also brought to you by Alea Iacta Est, AIE-guild.org, the gaming community that Sema and I play with. And we had a really good week last week with the summer game event where we had fun things going on in all of the games that we play. I encourage everyone to check that out if you need a game community to go join. Lots of MMOs that we play in particular. And then this podcast is also brought to you by Garden to Goat, the game that I am working on. And we'll be going into Alpha 2 in the next about 2 weeks. We're hoping by the 18th, keys will start to be going out for closed Alpha 2 testing. And the way
Right
you get
around the
in,
corner.
the way you get in, because we don't have that many people signed up even yet, is jump in the Discord, gardenandgoat.com/Discord, and ask in the Alpha 2 channel or the Alpha Interest channel, and we'll get you connected. Right now, we're going to get everybody in. So there is that. All right. Now, speaking of things not working completely, I need a 2-minute break because my teleprompter went offline.
Oh, no.
I can't see my notes. So Sema will entertain you with discussion of
Oh my gosh.
Solid Snake, Delta Snake Eater monkey
Yes.
time.
Right. Delta Snake Eater, because that's my strong suit, knowledge of Metal Gear Solid. Why can't I take a break too? Refill my water. Lucy, what can't you wait for? Oh, of course. Oh, Gail, great idea. We'll make up a synopsis. Well, obviously there's snakes involved. So maybe it's a cooking game where they catch the snakes and they roast them on spits over a campfire. And they make different sauces to dip them in. And you win by eating the most snakes. It's very competitive.
Almost back. Almost. Go course, that wrecked up my
I may have
the chat
been a
window.
tad misleading about what that game is about.
What did you say? What is it about?
Well, the main gameplay loop is that you hunt for snakes and then you cook them over a campfire. And
delicious snakes.
The way you win is by eating more snakes than anybody else.
Yeah, it's a PvP
very
game.
competitive.
It's competitive snake eating. Yeah, no, you got it. Nailed it.
Gail says metal snakes on a plane. Nice.
Okay. We're back. All right, where were we? We were going to talk about something new. Listen to this, Sema.
Oh my God, you're alive. Oh, yes. Oh, I was so worried. Not killing teenagers. It's my whole thing.
My whole thing.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant voice of Sloan Beaumont is the character, the corporate overlord in Grounded 2. Sema, we need to talk about Grounded 2.
Yes, we do.
And we will talk about Sloan Beaumont, which is a great name. But yeah, so we played Grounded 2. We played Grounded 2 quite a bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
It had a fun time. It was a day one release on Game Pass. It's very early access. So we also played Grounded, you and I both. So why don't we start there for what is Grounded 2 and kind of we for the people that know about Grounded 1, and I know some people don't, but there are similarities and differences that we can go over as well, which is fun.
So the main thing to know about Grounded is you get the character. Your character is one of 4 teenagers who have been accidentally shrunk, and your adventure is to make it out of your backyard.
Yes.
And it's very, very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. Like every bug is like a boss fight. I mean, not
every bug. There are tame bugs.
Right,
too,
right. There are tame bugs,
friendly
but
bugs.
I guess what I meant by that, I was trying to give a sense of the scale.
Yeah.
So like there's a juice box, for instance, and it's kind of the size of a small building.
Yep.
And that's part of the charm of this game is that the things that in another game would be buildings and stuff are basically the debris that's just lost in the backyard that you might not even know is there if you were regular human size.
Yes.
And you get sustenance from some of them too. Like you have to drink and eat. And the way where you find water is from dewdrops. Everything is like just scaled way down. And it's very creative in how it creates that atmosphere and the solutions that you have. And that part of it is very fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a survival game. It's a survival combat game too. I mean, it's definitely combat is core to it. Fighting bugs, fighting small bugs just to get materials for your progression and your building. Fighting big bugs that are the bosses that are like blocking areas or parts of the story. Lot of like survival and combat as well. So yeah, it is. Grounded 1 was great. Grounded 1, the story was you were shrunk against your will, and you like wake up shrunk. You don't know what happened, and you have to like figure it out of the backyard. Grounded 2 is like a continuation of that story.
Yeah, and I just say too, it's kind of like it is kind of like open world in that you can go whatever you want. You can take as long as you want to do things, but there is a story that comes to a close at the end of Grounded.
Yes, and I would say, even more than most other survival games, it's a story-driven game. I think most people play it for the story and not just to, build. You could just play it to because there's a lot of building. You can build a base, you can build a big house, and you can build it bigger and bigger, and you can unlock all of the things. So you could play it that way, but it's made for the story, and the story I think is really well done, because you've got like this. Like evil not evil corporation, you basically you're abusive corporation that's like doing experiments they shouldn't be doing. And there was like an evil scientist that like went rogue in the corporation. That was like part of for group or part one. Part two, the corporation decided that they were going to expand operations, continue the research into like shrunken stuff. And they were going to jointly, when they to help the community and pay back for the dead teenagers of the first game, they're like renovating this park, in the middle of the town, and then also that's where they're basing a research facility, a shrunken research facility, where other things are happening, and that's where the story starts. Is what's up with this shrunken research facility? It's been evacuated. Bad things are happening down there. And you, as one of the kids, one of your friends from the first game, a robot, has a problem in the opening cutscenes, and you got to like shrink yourself down. You go save him, go find him, go find out what's going on.
Well, I mean, you wake up and you're already shrunk.
Yeah.
But yes, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing that was so charming to me about Grounded, which is all the miniature, the scale thing I was talking about, it's kind of like that, but on steroids, or next level anyway, in Grounded 2, because not only do you have all that, but they have created a really clever way of making different biomes in the park that you're trapped in.
So much bigger map, but explain the biome thing, because you wouldn't think it's just a park in town.
Right.
But really clever with the biome stuff. Yeah, explain that.
Right. So so they're obviously not real geological biomes, but for instance, there's like a crashed ice cream truck and there's spilled ice cream on the ground, and that's sort of the frozen, snowy biome.
Yeah.
There's there's a fire pit that gives you like this lava biome. I forget what else but there's
like a pine tree over in the corner of the yard, so that's
that
like
gives
a pine
you the
forest biome.
You're right, the Northwest. Yeah.
Yeah, very very clever way to go about it and do it. The overturned ice cream truck in particular, very clever way to like add a snow biome to just a single, just like a single park in the shrunken world. They do a great job of attention to detail of when you're small in making the assets and the camera angles and the camera blur when you're looking off into the distance and what you see from, your point of view, of really, really good at making you feel like a small, like a shrunken person in a regular world. A lot of people don't probably remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and the sequel movies, Rick Moranis, because that was what is the 80s when those movies came out. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was a movie which was basically this story. They're shrunken in the backyard, and the kids need to, the kids get shrunken, and they need to get out and get unshrunken and biggened. Disney at one point, I don't know if it still exists. I don't think it does, but at MGM Studios at Disneyland and Disney World, I went to the one in Disney World in Florida. For a while, they had a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids like area that they built into the park, and you got to then walk around, and they made a Lego brick that was that was as tall as a building, and you got to like walk around and climb on all of these things, and dewdrops that are bigger than a car, and it was really cool to like get that feel in real life. To play it in the game, I got flashbacks to being at that park, having that feeling of what they did in the movie and realizing it and experiencing it. So great, good job. I really feel like this game, Grounded 2, is a direct continuation of the previous game. In fact, I think they could have made it, Grounded, like almost made it an expansion pack out of Grounded. There's more. There's a lot more. There's a lot that went into it. So it's definitely more than just like a small expansion.
Right.
But it's definitely a continuation. It's the same characters. It's part
Yeah.
2 of the, or a sequel to the story, direct sequel. Like it happens just like a couple weeks later.
It has a couple of major systems that the other one didn't have, like
Yeah.
player mounts.
So it does add a bunch more. Let's talk about those things that it adds, because those are pretty cool. And some of them that we got to try out and some of them we didn't get to try out. Like multiplayer, let's start there. They added multiplayer. You can play with up to 4 people co-op. It was bugged for me, bugged real hard. This is early access, so you expect some bugs, but there's some sort of bug with my account and a bunch of other people's Xbox account. You have to be logged into an Xbox account. I log into my Xbox account and the game doesn't think I'm logged in. Everything else does, because obviously I'm playing on Game Pass. So Game Pass thinks I am. I can see my account. I can see my name in the upper right corner of the screen. But then if I click on multiplayer, I immediately get an error that says you must be logged in. And it'll bring up a login box and make me log in again. I'm still logged in. It says my name in the upper right. If I log out, my name goes away, but it just won't even go to like picking to try to connect to anyone else or anything. Because Sema and I were going to play it together.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
And I've heard of sort of the other way around too. People who were just completely on Steam had to like make a Game Pass login so that they could play multiplayer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bound to an Xbox account wherever you log in. Because I thought maybe it was Game Pass that was the problem. I wanted to play this so much, I went and bought it on Steam. And that did not fix my problem. But I had other bugs, game-breaking bugs, that were bothering me. On the Game Pass version, with the way the game saves were working, that the Steam version worked a little bit better on as well. But yeah, it's early access. So that's a key part of it. But yeah, so we got multiplayer. We got the buggies. Tell me about buggies, Sema. Did you?
So I did not get as far as getting my own buggy.
Okay.
But what they are is, because what they are is you can get an egg and grow it up into a bug and tame it to be your bug, and you can ride it. It can also hold inventory and it can fight with you alongside you. So it's made me think of the dinosaurs in Ark.
Yes. There's a couple different kinds of bugs you can do this with. You can do it with some spiders. You can do it with some ants. The first one, and I got the ant because that's like the intro quests are kind of like leading you to do it. You're not taming anything. You're stealing an egg, and then you bring the egg to a little egg incubator that you've made, and then like the next day it hatches and you get your buggy mount. But yeah, you can ride around on it. You can have it fight while you're like riding around on it, and it'll like kill little bugs. It's not really good at fighting like big things. You're not going to do a boss fight while riding it. But then if you get off and you're fighting, it will help fight with you. And it can carry stuff. It's pretty cool. And definitely a big addition to the game.
And it's fast.
It is fast. So when you ride around on it, they even do like the motion blur, but you're moving, you're cooking, you're moving across the garden. So you're tearing it up. I felt fast. It's because if you just do the walk, it just walks. But then if you do the run, it gets really, really fast. And yeah, it was cool. It felt fast, and it jumps pretty high. And it's a really useful tool in addition to being, a tool and companion. And it's a pretty big part of the game and a pretty big addition. So as I said, it's not just like we're still playing Grounded 1. That's a big addition.
And I saw some players in a video that were using the combination of like the jump that the buggy can do and some kind of a push or whatever to get each other up into like high places, which also looked pretty fun.
Yeah, co-op did look pretty fun. The problem with this kind of game in co-op is it's one of those kinds of co-op games where you're going to need to commit to the co-op. And it's not like people can play on their own when you're not co-oping, because you're playing it together, you're progressing everything together. You can't like go off on your own. And because there is kind of an RPG element to it where you're even like building up your skills and upgrading your gear. And there's new like stat skill systems, like the mutations that you could like be building up for your character over time. you can't like go off and do that on your own. So like even if you and I played like on Monday, if we had gotten around to that, we probably would have had fun and played on Monday and then went back to our single player saves to just keep progressing on our own. But yeah, that's a big thing. The map is a lot bigger. The story is new and interesting. The buggies are a big thing. And then a couple other like things that are different. In the first game, very similar to a whole bunch of other survival games, you had pick up a stick and pick up a rock and now put them together and you made a hammer. Which I still like that in survival games. They kind of evolved from that for this game. So you don't have to carry a pick and an axe and a hammer. As you're starting the game, one of the first things you get in one of the little shrunken facilities is the Omni tool. And the Omni tool does it all. It's a pick, a hammer, and an axe.
Which I appreciated, and I also appreciated that you didn't have to actually make it. Like the upgrades you have to collect stuff for.
Yes.
But from the beginning, at least you have that tool for, it's in Grounded, you're not chopping down trees, you're chopping down blades of grass and stems of clover and stuff like that. So your first tool that you get, you can do that with.
Right. It only does chopping to start. You have to unlock the hammer part or the shovel part. No, it's chopper, it's axe, shovel, and wrench. And I've unlocked all of them, but I haven't nothing has made me use the wrench yet. I've got the buggy. I did a bunch of that. I got killed by mosquitoes a couple times. You can definitely die. It's definitely a dangerous place. One of the other things that it's upgraded and they've evolved is sort of like almost like a class system. You can, there's more weapons, there's more abilities, and you can specialize your abilities to be like tank gear that like give you threat and defense, or DPS gear. There's no like healer gear really yet, at least. But you could like, especially if you're playing multiplayer, you can specialize your roles a little bit. You can have one person be the tank and other people could be like a ranged DPS. There's like a caster. I didn't unlock that yet, but there's something like you're collecting like this candy that basically makes you almost like a spellcaster. You're like throwing candy that poisons the bugs or whatever, instead of fireballs. But that's an evolution from the original games also, and sort of like an expansion.
And you have to do these upgrades. Like if you can't just run through the story and go boss to boss to boss to boss, because you'll fail at the boss fights.
Yes. Yeah. Because the bosses get harder and harder and harder. It's an escalating progression curve on the bosses, and you need the gear and the abilities to be able to fight the bosses. I don't know. There's probably somebody out there who can go naked and just by dodging, kill everything in the game. But that's not the way it's intended to be played, and a normal person can't do that. So
Right. There's always that guy.
Because as I said, I was playing on normal difficulty, not even the hard difficulty, not easy, but I was playing on the normal one, and at risk of dying, or at least dying a couple times, or at risk of dying and having to run away often, like right within the initial area. Oh, so, here comes a spider. Here comes a warrior ant. You better run away.
So, like, since you brought up modes, I played on the whatever they call the easy mode. So they have easy, normal, watch out kind of thing, and but they also have one that's called creative, where it doesn't have any obstacles, no story, no anything. You have all the resources, everything. So you just go in there and build.
Yeah.
But of interest to me was, and I almost did this, was the custom mode, where you can basically go in and turn on and turn off everything. So like I appreciated that when you start out this game, you're not naked.
Yeah.
Because I hate that about survival games. However, also I think you can turn off like hunger and thirst. You can put it on easy, which easy still has requirements, and you still have to like do. It still has the story. Like creative mode, there's no story. It's just you wandering around. But so you could make a custom mode that like doesn't have
Yeah, that's not
thirst and
bad.
hunger. Yeah. But like maybe you want to play it on normal mode, but you just don't like thirst and hunger, for instance.
Right.
Or yeah, I
'Cause
think
it is
that's
annoying.
really
The
cool.
thirst and hunger are aggressive on normal. So yeah,
And then
like
of
little
course
things like that.
there's also degrees of the arachnophobia.
That's the key accessibility feature. I
Yeah.
mean, there's scorpions, but arachnophobia, they're all over it. And there's 4 degrees of tuning of the arachnophobia. But like cockroaches and scorpions and all of that, it's fine. You know, you just have to put up with that. But spiders, well, we got you covered with the arachnophobia mode. I think I don't want to be insensitive, so I'm not gonna do it. But I told my team that we were gonna add to Garden and a Goat, add an arachnophobia mode. There's no spiders in our game, and then we don't have any plans for spiders, so I'm just gonna put one in there anyway. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll still put it in there as a little inside joke. But yeah, arachnophobia mode with the 4 different. They had that in Grounded 1 also.
Put a grasshopper phobia mode.
There's grasshoppers in this game, and they don't. They don't, and wasps and bees, and I'm sure there's things that people are just as afraid of, but arachnophobia is the thing. So, anyway.
Well, I actually don't know if that's true. I've never heard that. So,
we even tried to do research on this at some point, but yeah, I'm not going to debate it because it is a thing. I mean, arachnophobia is a pretty big thing, so I'm not going to say it's not. What would you say about I think that like the art style and the attention to detail, it's pretty in line with Grounded 1 and excellent.
Yeah, it's excellent.
So I think it's very high quality. All the things look really good. They look like they should look when you're small. Like the dewdrops don't, they look like a dewdrop if you're like looking at it with a magnifying glass. When you light a fire, because you have like a little cook pit, it looks like the flame that comes off of like a single match. It doesn't look like a crackling fire.
Yeah.
It's just very great attention to detail of all of those kinds of things. You can climb inside of the soda can, and there's 1 drop of soda left in there, and you can suck it up because it gives you a little bit of energy. So all that kind of thing is really well done. Clever design of the environments.
And the way the building works too, you can. Well, this is not unique to this game, but I like that you can lay it all out and then put the mats in later to actually build it.
Like the hologram blueprinting. Yeah, that's really a cool thing. And you can pick things up that you placed like a crafting station and move it. In fact, here's a little hack for everybody out there. Once you make the little lean-to, you can bind your spawn point to that lean-to. So if you're going to go down into an anthill hole, you can put a lean-to, and the game actually, the first time you do it, recommends that you do it. A little message will pop up. Put a lean-to right outside in case you get killed down there. Then you'll be able to run right back in because you might drop a couple things out of your backpack. Well, I found that you can also pick that up and like shift it and move it around. You can move it across the map. You can like pick up the lean-to and like run all the way to the next quest location and set it down. And it's just like hovering in the air in front of you the whole time you're running. So I did that a couple times. I was like moving that lean-to around aggressively. So yeah. Style wise, it's AAA. It's this is Obsidian. They're doing a really good job, and it looks really good. The base building is good. I didn't get to it, but I don't know if they had this in Grounded 1. Bugs would attack your base in Grounded 1, but I thought that was just if they were like just wandering bugs. In Grounded 2, there's an actual invasion mechanic where one of the antagonists will send bugs to go after your base. So one of the things you'll be unlocking and able to build is like spike strips and turrets and walls and gates and things like that. I didn't get to that, but I don't mind that in survival games. I I think that's a fun little twist and makes building a base interesting. It can be annoying, and I'm sure you can probably shut it off in the settings. Games that have that, you can often shut them off when they have settings. But I kind of like it. I think it's a useful tool set to add an extra gameplay loop and make some more of like the building matter.
Yeah, and I don't think it's completely random. I think you kick it off at least partially by your own actions. Like, if you kill a bunch of this bug, then maybe it makes them mad and they attack.
Mm. That's the way it works in a lot of other games. And in fact, Conan Exiles had a really great version of this, or does have a great version of this, where the more you like operate on your base, the more you build, the more you craft, there's a meter that keeps ticking up and up and up. So when the actions you're taking are getting you up to the breaking point when now an invasion, you're at risk. It's still random then after that point, but you're at that at risk point. So if you've got some control and it's not just completely unpredictable, that does help out and feels a little bit better. Because then you can like make sure that you've got the defenses built, or you've spent the time to gather the mats to get the strip. It doesn't just randomly come when you're not prepared. That would be nice. All right. So what'd you think overall?
I like the wry sense of humor. Like we just saw a shot of the newscaster. One of her lines is the formerly evil corporation known as, yes,
Almanent,
like
or whatever it is.
Yeah, they're formerly evil.
She's the corporate spokesperson. That's Sloan, right? So
well,
she
no,
also does the commercials.
No, I'm talking about the newscaster calls it that.
In the very opening cinematic. Yeah.
The blonde. But yeah, I totally think this is a fun game. I would say if you haven't played Grounded, play Grounded, because this game could stand to go back in the oven a little bit.
Okay, well there's a good point. Yeah, this is early access and it feels early access. In fact, it's more early access than it's earlier of access than I kind of expected.
Me too. So but you might be as a player, you might not care about that. A little jankiness comes with the territory. If that's your take, that's good.
Yep.
Or replay Grounded, even.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not saying you need to, because you can slide right into this game really even without having played Grounded. Yes, right. That's like chapter 1, but it's not like you'd run around mystified if you hadn't played Grounded.
Right. And it still walks you through everything. It doesn't like leave anything out. It'll give you the tutorials to teach you everything, even of the mechanics and the story. You'll pick it up along the way.
Right.
But that's not a bad recommendation, because it's early. So this is Obsidian. They were a AAA studio before they were bought by Microsoft, $1 billion publishing backing to them. And this is one of the earliest of early access of this kind of game that I've seen put out from a AAA studio in general, let alone backed by Microsoft. I think it's a bold move, and I think everybody is going to do it now. The indies do it all the time because the idea is they're uncertain about their future and would like to get something out there and get people playing it. And Obsidian knows what they're going to build. I'm sure they're not like putting early access out there to like gather user feedback.
They're under a different kind of pressure.
Probably cost, so they're going to make some money because money.
Right.
But yeah, I'm surprised. So even big corporations have smaller departments, and it goes smaller and smaller and smaller. And down at your like studio level or sub studio level, you're going to have a P&L. And because it might be nice to have some revenue incoming, so you're not just a big cost center for multiple years, you might really want to get the game out there for early access. But they don't have to. And Microsoft's the publisher. They could say, no, we'll fund you for the next 2 years. Just, get it done, and we'll have a big fun release, and we'll have a really cool product out there. They could very easily do that, whereas like an indie studio may not be able to do that. they might run out of money and need to be funded that way. Now it's
Oh, and one
it's a
thing,
way to get some things funded. So
I mean, one
it's
thing
different.
we didn't mention, a big deal thing, is that this is not the complete game.
Right.
So if you buy it right now, you get like a third of the game. There's more development coming.
More map,
More
more
of the
story. It's like a third of the story, not all of
yeah.
the abilities, all of the like more gear. The gear's not all in yet. I mean, it's early. It's buggy. No pun intended or pun intended. They're gonna have more
I think
weapons
like
and
I
armor.
played it on Game Pass, and I didn't, since we didn't get as far as doing multiplayer because of the problems on your end. I didn't have any problems, but I have heard of people, games locking up, getting disconnected, getting booted out of the game, seeing other people running in place, stuff like that. So maybe if you play Game Pass single player, it's a smooth experience. So there is that. But yeah, but that's the thing is if you buy it now, it's a third or half of or a quarter of the game, some portion of the game.
Yeah. But I think it's still cool. And if
I do too.
if you
And
know
I
what
think
you're
this is
getting into and you played Grounded 1, then yeah, I think it's
yeah,
still
and
fun.
if this is the kind of game that you want to see out in the world and you want to support, then absolutely buy it.
Yeah. The only other sort of like random thought I had about this when I was thinking about that and how early of early access this is and how they're creating this game as a game. I mean, it's a it's a one-time box product game so far, at least. Is what if Grounded 1 turned into or started as a live service game? So with like expansion content and seasons, and each of the seasons might bring a new feature, and then there's like little challenges that are along the way, and season upgrades and cosmetics and things like that. Would that? I mean, a lot of people like think live service is terrible and just a money grab, and not gamer forums will rail against it. But would we be as consumers ahead of the game again pun intended if Grounded 1 was a live service game? And would we already have like most of this in? It probably would have been, this is what we're getting with the number of features and things, and it probably stretched out over a number of seasons. But I don't, if you're paying $10 for the season pass or whatever, or you let a couple seasons go by and you spend $10 to catch up, would you be ahead of the game rather than like waiting until they came up with Grounded 2 and paying the $40 all at once for the box product? I don't know. And would you have had a lot of fun along the way?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be open to that. One difficulty with that is as a person playing the game, well, I don't know. You have to be like into gaming things and know that there's a Game Pass that you can buy and all that stuff, but they could advertise it in the game.
Yeah. And yeah, you can advertise it that way on Steam. And it's basically like a catch up, and you can like jump in and catch up and see what's new. So yeah.
Yeah, I
pros and
was just
cons.
thinking about though, like only a small percentage of people look at what's happening with games as opposed to just play them.
Right. True. And in some ways, just a box product is still a really nice way to go about bringing games to the masses.
And I want to make my one comment too that I always make, and I made it. Yeah, this is on Unreal 5 engine, and yet it's its own unique look.
Yes, it is.
Just saying, it does not look like all the other games that are on Unreal, so it's not Unreal's fault if games look alike.
Right. It is not. That's a really good point. All right. Well, I liked it. I'm going to be up for the new content when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm going to play more of it, but it's a good addition, but both a good entry in just the survival genre, and a good entry in the story of the series. Really, the main antagonist I wouldn't say main antagonist, but the corporate woman, that the Sloane, her voice acting is top notch. I forgot to mention Stephanie Kerbis is the voice actor who does it. She is doing an amazing job. Just what you heard in the little drop in, and just like friendly, but just like the little bit of corporate disdain of executive.
And also, everything she says has basically a different, two meanings.
Yeah,
the words and the subtext, and she just conveys that beautifully.
Yeah, well, there's at one point where she's like, you ask her, well, tell me about that missing employee. She's like, oh yeah, employee 427. Boy, I wish I knew her name. That would be so much easier. Then I could say, oh, Carol is missing. Oh darn.
That would sound so much better, she says.
It sounds so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, Carol's missing. Oh darn. She's incredible, and just like every time I heard her voice, I just wanted to go more and more. In fact, I tried to find that quote, and I kept watching these like playthroughs, and people weren't pressing the I want to ask more questions button when you get her on the call in their playthrough. I'm like, why would you not press that? Don't you want to talk to her more? I would talk to her all day.
Right.
I picked every single option. So yeah, great game. All right, I think that is good for now. I heard, Sema, you were playing through the story of 11.2 in World of Warcraft. Maybe we can talk about that next week.
Yes, we could.
Or in one of the upcoming weeks.
I kind of let my mind stray from story in the last few patches, so I did not really understand why we went to Undermine in the first place. And I kind of caught up this time around, so yeah, I can talk about that a little bit.
All right, fun. And you can tell us all about Zalatos and how she's doing lately.
Oh yeah, yes, her feet are glorious. Yeah.
But she's a big part of what's going on right now, right?
Not only has she not gotten any shoes, she's not gonna.
No, she's leaning into that. She's got her foot firmly planted on that meme.
And I do enjoy the memes and all that stuff. But it's not fetishy. It's just that she's an entity of the void. She floats everywhere.
Right.
She doesn't. Her body is just appendages to her. They're nothing. Right. So she's not gonna. That's her look.
That's her deal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is time for us to wrap it up. My teleprompter just fritzed out yet again. So I'll look down during our wrap up here. That's it for today. All the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com, and our videos up on YouTube/newoverlords. Please come chat with us on our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. You can also follow on all the social networks, and we will keep you up to date there too. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.